Have you ever walked into someone's home and noticed that it was spotless? Not because they were expecting guests, not because they spent the weekend deep cleaning, but simply because it is always that way, and you find yourself wondering, how do they do it? What is different about them? Are they just more disciplined? Do they have more time? Do they simply enjoy cleaning their home more than the rest of us? Here is what I have discovered. Those people are not just cleaner. They are wired differently. And I do not mean that in any mystical sense. I mean it literally. Neurologically, psychologically. The person who cleans their house every single day is operating from a completely different mental framework than someone who cleans only when things get out of hand or when guests are about to arrive. Today, I want to break that down for you, because what I am going to show you is that a clean home is not just about a clean home. It is about the state of your mind, the structure of your identity, and the relationship you have with your own environment. And if you have ever felt that a messy environment drains you, causes anxiety, or quietly suffocates you, then this video might just be the one that changes how you think about your space forever. Let us start here. Your brain does not distinguish between your inner world and your outer world as precisely as you might think. The space you live in is constantly sending signals to your nervous system. There is a concept in environmental psychology called cognitive load. Cognitive load is simply the amount of mental effort your brain is using at any given moment. And here is what research has shown. Physical clutter competes for your attention even when you are not consciously aware of it. Every pile of unwashed laundry, every stack of unread mail, every dirty dish in the sink, socks on the floor, clothes draped over a chair or left on the bed, your brain registers all of it as unfinished business. And unfinished business is mentally expensive. A study conducted at Princeton University found that physical clutter in your surroundings actually interferes with your ability to focus. It overloads your visual cortex and impairs your brain's ability to process information. So your messy room is not just irritating. It is literally making you less sharp, less focused, and more mentally fatigued. Does your focus slip when your space is disorganized? Now flip that around. When your environment is clean and ordered, your brain gets to relax. That is why people who clean their home every day are not just tidier. They think more clearly. They are calmer. They are more focused. Their environment works for them, not against them. Now, I want you to understand something deeper about this behavior. When we talk about people who clean every day, we are not really talking about people who love scrubbing floors. And let us be honest, who actually enjoys scrubbing the floor every day or vacuuming constantly? We are talking about people who have figured out, consciously or not, that maintaining their environment is one of the most reliable ways to maintain a sense of control over their own life. Think about it this way. There are so many things in your life that you cannot control. You cannot control the economy, the weather, other people's behavior, the result of a football match on TV, what happens in traffic, or what your boss says in a meeting. Most of life is unpredictable, and for many people that unpredictability creates this quiet, constant anxiety, a background hum of stress that never fully goes away. But your home, that you can control. The state of your kitchen counter, whether your bathroom has been wiped down, whether your bed is made, those are entirely within your domain. And every time you act on your environment and restore it to order, you send a signal to your nervous system that says, I am in charge here. I can handle things. Everything is okay. Have you ever felt a sense of relief after cleaning your home? In psychology, this relates to what is called the locus of control. People who have a strong internal locus of control, meaning they believe their actions genuinely influence their outcomes, tend to experience less anxiety, greater motivation, and greater resilience. And one of the simplest ways to reinforce your internal locus of control every single day is to take ownership of your immediate environment. Clean the counters, make the bed, wash and put away the dishes before they pile up, and you will feel the relief. Now I want to talk about something that I believe is the real key to understanding this behavior. And it brings me back to what I talk about constantly on this channel: identity. People who clean their home every day are not doing it primarily because they love cleaning. Let us be realistic. who actually enjoys tidying their home every single day? Most of them would probably tell you they do not. They do it because somewhere along the way, through repeated action, through building the habit, through seeing the results, they internalized an identity. They became the type of person who keeps a clean home, and once that becomes part of what you believe yourself to be, the behavior becomes almost automatic. Behavioral psychology is very clear on this. We act in alignment with who we believe we are. So if you believe you are a disorganized person, a messy person, someone who simply cannot keep things tidy, what do you think will happen? You will let things pile up and tell yourself, well, that is just the way I have always been. But here is the good news. Identity is not fixed. Identity is built through evidence, and the evidence comes from your actions. Every time you wipe down the table after dinner, you are building the identity of someone who takes care of their space. Every time you make your bed in the morning, you are reinforcing the belief that you are someone who follows through on small commitments. Do that enough times and your brain has no choice but to update its picture of who you are. This is what identity-based habit theory, rooted in cognitive dissonance research, tells us. Repeated actions shape self-concept, and once a behavior becomes part of your identity, it becomes natural and automatic. The goal is not to force yourself to clean every day for the rest of your life. The goal is to do it consistently enough that you stop being someone who has to force themselves to clean their own home, and start being someone who simply does it. Let me tell you why this habit is especially powerful when it becomes part of your morning ritual. Neurologically, right after waking up, your brain is in a relaxed, receptive state. Your cortisol, your stress hormone, naturally spikes in the morning, which actually creates a window for focus and neuroplasticity. Your brain is literally more capable of rewiring itself in the morning than at any other point during the day. So what happens when the very first act of your day is to make your bed, or to wipe down the kitchen? You are doing several things at once. First, you are using that neurological window to reinforce a behavior that will eventually become automatic. Second, you are generating what psychologists call a completion loop. Your brain receives a small but genuinely powerful dopamine hit when you finish a task and see the results. A made bed, a clean sink, a wiped counter, these are visible markers of a completed action, and they feel good to the brain. Third, and this is the most important part, you are building momentum. Admiral William McRaven, in his famous commencement speech at the University of Texas that went viral, said something incredibly simple and profound. If you want to change the world, start by making your bed. 'Cause when you make your bed in the morning, you have already accomplished the first task of the day. That gives you a small sense of pride. It encourages you to complete another task, and another. And by the end of the day, that one small task will have multiplied into many completed tasks. The compound effect of daily cleaning is not just a tidier home, it is a more productive day. Every single day. Now I want to be honest with you about something. Because I know some of you listening right now are thinking, Rob, I am just a messy person. I have always been messy. My parents were messy. My apartment has always been messy. That is simply who I am. I hear you, but I want you to hear this. Your clutter is not neutral. It is trying to tell you something. It is almost always either a symptom or a cause of something that is happening on the inside. When life feels out of control, people's environments tend to reflect that. When someone is going through depression, their space is often the first thing to deteriorate. Their apartment becomes dirty, dishes go unwashed, beds go unmade. The mess on the outside mirrors the chaos within. Research published in the Personality and Social Psychology Bulletin found that people who described their homes as cluttered or full of unfinished projects had higher levels of the stress hormone cortisol throughout the day compared to people who described their homes as restful and relaxing. Think about that. The state of your home is literally affecting your baseline stress level every